Okay, I'm ready to get started with chapter 4, and we're going to draw, move my screen over there, we're going to draw a saddle bracket. See the dimensions are shown. I'm going to start out with the first sketch. I'm going to do this shape, minus the half round, so I'm just going to go up to the 3.25 and the 2 legs standing up. So I'm going to do that first, and right away I'm going to talk about question 1. So you're going to hear the question, and then you want to open the quiz, and then watch a couple minutes of the video and find the answer. So I'm going to go New. I'm going to use English, Standard IPT, and Create. Chapter 2 of the PowerPoint just shows how you would think this out, about how you're looking at the object. So we're breaking it down into simple pieces. So that's the first model, and then the round section was added to give this curve, and then rectangular cutout was made through that because first this was solid, and then we added a fillet. So getting ready to draw this. So I'm going to start a sketch, and I'm going to do it on the front plane, XY plane. I'm going to start out with a line, left click to pick up that origin. For this first line, I'm going to put in a dimension. The dimension is 3.25. From there, let me zoom out. Well, not too far. Okay, there you go. From there, I'm gonna sketch, and then I'm gonna go back and add some dimensions. So I've got this thickness, and then I've got a leg, and here, and that is a little bit higher than the other one. And then I'm gonna go over here, and then I'm gonna try to catch that tracking point. Then over here, I want to go all the way to that edge, and here. Right click OK. So now I can go in and dimension. This one is 1.75. This one is 0.5, and this one is also 0.5. So I'm just going to point to that, click the OK mark, and then from here to here, whoops, from here to here is 2. This one, I think I'll take it out for now. Go back to my dimension command. I've got a thickness here to specify. 7.5. Then over here, you click these 2 lines. That's 0.5. Or I can also click that line. That's going to tell me that it's driven. That's okay. It's not going to hurt anything to have extra dimension there. So it's looking strange. So I'm going to right click, finish sketch. And question number 2 is coming up. Over here at the left hand side of your bar, you see the model browser window. And we know this is part 2. And we know we can open up the origin folder, and we can see some various items we might want to draw on or use later. So I'm going to close that. And we see what we've done so far. Well, the only thing we've done right now is sketch 1. But as I create sketches and create features, then they'll be here. And as soon as I extrude sketch 1, then I'll end up with a folder that has a extrusion feature. And then you open it up, and you'll see sketch 1 is underneath it. Okay, so question 3 is coming up now. Extrude. Choose that surface. I'm going to choose symmetrical, and then I'm going to use 2.5 and click OK. Now I've got that drawn, and now I'm going to look at my second feature, and I want to draw, I can probably draw on the top side or the bottom side, but I'm going to choose the bottom side, and I will hold down my shift and use my mouse wheel so that I can see it. So I'm going to use a circle. I want to grab the center point, and then I want to grab this outside edge. If I have any doubt in my mind that I've not clicked to the right areas, I can see that it's giving me that dimension, which is the same as the extrude thickness that I use for that shape. Right click, finish sketch. I want to go back to this location, extrude. Now question 4 is coming up. So instead of using distance, I'm going to use, well, first of all, I'm going to go the other direction. And I do want it to be a join, not a cut. And for distance, I'm going to use 2, and then I'm going to point to the plane that I want that to extend to. So that's got that one. Now, I want to talk about when you make changes. And typically, and this is question 5 and 6 coming up, typically you see your dimensions or adjust your dimensions in the sketch mode, but you can adjust them in your extrusion. So I'm going to go back to this first extrusion, and I'm going to right click, show dimensions. That brings up the dimensions for my sketch. I'm going to pick this 3.25, and I'm going to change that to 4. So you see my sketch changed, but my model didn't. So I can go up here. There's a little button up here. It looks like maybe a lightning bolt or something. I'm not sure. Click on Local Update, and my part adjusts itself. Okay, now we're going to use a placed feature, and we've got hole. And I click on the surface. I want to put the hole, and if I go to the outside of this circle, I see a concentric. So I click on that, and it makes my hole share a center with that radius. So I want to be sure my setting is correct through all. The direction is correct. The size is 3/4. Now, this particular one, I do not have to have dimensions on it because it's located in the center. If I did need dimensions, then I would point to the sides. For example, that side, well, it's giving me another hole. Okay, let me see if I can undo that selection. It undid everything, hole, this surface, concentric, and everything else is the same. Okay, so I guess it knew that the hole was already dimensioned, so I couldn't put that in there. Question 7 is coming up. So let's go back to my first extrusion, right click, edit feature. Maybe something started looking weird about my sketch, and change this to 2. So we can go back just about any time and adjust a dimension in a previous sketch or previous feature. The only thing you have to worry about is whether or not that will affect parts that you're building it on. For example, a hole in here or something like that. If I dimension it from an edge and then I made it bigger or smaller, then my hole location might not be correct. Okay, so I've got another sketch. Start a sketch on this surface, and I'm going to do a rectangle. And then I'm going to dimension it. Here to here was 0.5, and then from here to here, 0.75, and then this was 1. Now I really don't care if it goes further than that. It's not going to cut in the air. So even though it says 1 dimension needed, I don't care that much about the dimension from here to here. Right click, finish sketch. Then I'm going to do an extrude. I'm going to choose my shape, do a cut, and then I'm going to choose all. So you see, it didn't make that cut out. It didn't adjust anything because I can't cut anything out of midair, even though the rectangle was larger. Okay, we're coming up on question 8, the last question. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a fillet in here. Now fillet can be done as a place feature, but we're going to go back to the first sketch, right click, edit sketch, and we're going to put it in the sketch environment. Fillet works similar to AutoCAD in that you pick the two sides. So let's change this to 0.25 and then pick this side and this side. It'll also show you what it would look like if you clicked in the corner there, so you can do either one. Right click, finish sketch. So now that fillet is in my finished drawing. Now the other thing that was discussed, a couple other things that was discussed in the PowerPoint, the discussion about the model browser bar, the information that is here is called history based, because everything that we've done, you can see all the different extrusions. Whole one is a place feature, and you can go back and adjust those as you need it. On the navigation toolbar, we've got a feature here, kind of looks like a wallet, but it's the look at feature or look at command. So I can click that, and let's just say I wanted to look at that in particular. Then I could click the surfaces that I want to look at this front. Then you don't really have to think about what view that is, whether or not that's a front view. Physical properties, we can associate properties by specifying what kind of material this is. So if you find your part here, right click, whoops, okay, I guess I have to go to the first solid body. Nope. There it is, eye properties. I don't know why I didn't see it the first time. And if we go to physical, you see right now the material says generic, but you have a lot of different things to choose from. So the one in the book shows aluminum 6061, and then once we have that information, this is tied to the object, and we have mass, area, volume, and then you have some other information that that an engineer would need for that part. And if you change your material, make it concrete, apply, then those change. And notice it shaded the object too. I think I'll change it to glass and see what it does. Ah, see through. What about bronze? Ooh. And maybe wood, just to see. Ooh. So anyway, just playing around a little bit, but you can see it does change the properties of the part and makes it look pretty. Okay, so that's it.